The beginning of this next dispute between God and his people starts in the last verse of chapter 2. The people have wearied God by questioning his justice. They have faced many hardships at the hands of others, but have not seen God do anything about it. God responds in chapter 3. Verse 1a says, "See, I am sending my messenger to prepare the way before me, and the Lord whom you seek will suddenly come to his temple." Commentators struggle to keep track of who is being referred to here in this prophecy, for at one moment it seems to be a figure separate from God, and then it seems to be referring to God himself. For example, it seems clear that God speaks of someone else as he is the one sending him who will prepare the way for me. But then it is the Lord whom they seek who will suddenly come to his temple. So there it appears to be God. But the word Lord here is the actual word for Lord, not the conventional replacement for the divine name Yahweh. At the close of the book, in the last 2 verses of chapter 4, the forerunner is identified as Elijah. And this verse is quoted in regard to John the Baptist in the Gospels, where Jesus also explicitly identifies him as the expected Elijah. The quotation, as found, for example, at the beginning of Mark 1, is a composite one, as a similar prophecy is found in Isaiah 40 verse 3, which predates this one in Malachi. These two are joined together with elements of Exodus 23:20, where God sends his angel ahead of Israel to prepare their way. The evangelists understood these 3 scriptures to be referring together to the return of the Lord and his messenger who will be sent before him to purify his people. Malachi was also aware of the relationship between his message and Exodus 23 and Isaiah 40. But instead of the Lord going before his people to judge the nations of Canaan, now he is coming to judge his own people, and he sends his own messenger ahead of himself. Remembering the initial complaint of the people that God no longer does justice, this promise of a coming messenger is more of a warning than a consolation. God is coming to display his justice, but will he find any in Israel? As Malachi puts it in verse 2, "But who can endure the day of his coming, and who can stand when he appears?" The first order of judgment will be to purify the priesthood. Using the 2 images of being laundered and refined like gold and silver, the messenger will apply his process of deep cleansing until, as verse 3 has it, they present offerings in righteousness. Once this is done, then, as verse 5 says, the Lord will draw near for judgment. He gives a list of targets for judgment, which is not meant to be exhaustive, but gives a round picture of corruption to be found in Israel. The Lord now answers the complaint of 2:17 in 3:6-7a. "For I, the Lord, do not change. Therefore you, O children of Jacob, have not perished. Ever since the days of your ancestors, you have turned aside from my statutes and have not kept them." He points out that he does not change, and it is precisely this quality which ensures Israel's survival, because God is faithful even when they are not. And as God declares, they have never been faithful, not even from the beginning. The implication is, who are they to accuse God of injustice? Yet God extends an invitation once again in 7b. "Return to me, and I will return to you." We saw this invitation at the beginning of Zechariah in chapter 1, verse 2. The complaint about injustice continues in verses 13-15. Now it is expressed the other way round, not as the wicked not getting punishment, but the righteous gaining no reward or benefit. That the wicked escape as well only increases this bitterness. The chapter ends with a note that some still took God seriously and responded reverently, and so their names were written in the Lord's book of remembrance. We will see when we come to Esther what it can mean to find your name written in a king's book. These will be saved when the Lord acts, when he distinguishes between the righteous and the wicked, those who serve God and those who do not.